Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in this wonderful golfing globe. Welcome back to this week's episode of the Golf Rules Questions podcast. Happy here to be joining you once again from downtown Melbourne Central, CBD. I'm located in Big Swing Golf's franchise of the year. If you hear some golf balls bouncing around and some noise, it's already early in the morning. The Big Swing Golf venues are already cracking on. David, Blakey, how are you?
Yeah, good. And I'm not too far away from you, just in South Melbourne here. So got a nice view out the office, looking back at your location in the CBD, and stopped by your place the other day and picked up this. So
There you go.
Finally able to wear some of my own merch. Looking good.
Well, can you stand up again and give the viewers who choose to listen to this on the growing YouTube site, the Golf Rules Questions YouTube site, give them a better look at the T-shirt, because we might have to make a couple of these available. I think we've shown you the GRQotW, and that T-shirt there that you can see is the GRQotW. It's effectively the podcast art turned into a T-shirt, but the GRQotW is a representation of your kangaroo logo, which you've had as part of the Golf Rules Questions logo for a number of years. And then I think we showed the other T-shirt. I'm not sure if we did or not, but we have another design with the GRQotW. If you follow my Scottish gist, Q is Scottish for cow. And one of my favourite beasts on the planet, bovine beasts, is the Highland cow. I don't know why I have an affinity for the Highland cow. I love those things. I just find looking at a big Highland cow somewhat motivating in a Scottish sort of sense. And if you're Scottish, you'll probably get that. So we've got another logo with the GRQ and RU that also exists in a sticker form. Have you sent those stickers out yet, Blakey, that we promised some of the listeners that emailed in?
Yes, yeah, I've sent out a fair few stickers already, and some have sent back messages that have received them, which is fantastic. So if you did receive it, and just want to let me know that you have, because I'm hoping that the postage around the world is working.
Can we give out some more stickers? I've got a few here sitting behind me. How do you get a sticker if we've got a limited number here that we got the first reprinted batch? How do you get your hands on a GRQ and Q sticker?
Just send me an email with your address so I can physically send you a sticker in an envelope. I've sent a few out, and hopefully they'll be getting put on travel bags or golf bags or cars. I stuck mine on my car.
If you are a recipient of the original shipment of GRQ and Q decals, can you send us a little picture of where you've emblazoned that? That'd be greatly appreciated. And if you want one, if you do the same, that would be great, because it just helps spread the word that what we're doing is being listened and heard. So appreciate that. Anyway, that's a little bit of a shameless selfless plug for potential merchandise. And if you like David's T-shirt, let us know on that. We'd love to flog a couple of T-shirts and help fund a little bit of this equipment that we see here. But more so, I think our intention is maybe to do something a little bit more altruistic and philanthropic with if we do get the opportunity to sell some T-shirts. They're great T-shirts. They look good, and they support a good cause. They can support this good cause, but we might put some of the funds to supporting other great causes. So, Blakey, this week's episode, we've got Golf Rules Question of the Week. We've got some videos to run through. We've got this week's Golf Rules Question of the Week to ask. There's a fair bit that happened at what was it? The WGC Match Play.
Dell Technologies Match Play.
So that might take us a little bit to unpack, but why don't we crack on?
Yeah, let's run through the GRQotW35. Go for it, Roscoe.
So that's last week's question. That referred to Charlotte. You might remember I had a bit of a chuckle because I think that situation nearly happened to me, but I'll read it back again. Charlotte is playing match play. She holds a putt and, thinking that she has won the hole, lifts her opponent's ball that is on the green. Her opponent then tells her that the putt is for a half. What is the ruling?
Yeah, so Charlotte gets a one-stroke penalty. She didn't have any intention to concede the opponent's next shot. So she gets a 1-stroke penalty and the ball needs to be replaced. So the player can, the opponent can hole out. If they have a putt for the half, they've now got a putt for the win. So lucky them. And this was a real life situation happened a couple of weeks ago to my friend Charlotte, and ended up that they just called the hole a half. They didn't know what to do, so they called it a half. Obviously, Charlotte got away with murder there, but she eventually went down in match, so it's probably golf karma. But yeah, just a really interesting one there.
So as we've discussed in the past, if something isn't known and they agree that that result can be upheld in the match play situation, yeah?
Yeah, so it's really interesting with match play. Basically, you know, the player and the opponent, or the two players and the two opponents, or whatever it is. And if they don't know a rule, you can actually agree to waive a rule of golf by accident, or you know, as long as they don't deliberately know that rule. It's really interesting, and we've got actually one of those situations occurred at the WGC Dell Technologies Match play on the weekend.
Yeah, no, it was a classic handled by. Anyway, we'll talk about it when we get there. Now, Dell Technologies, moving on.
Yeah, well, this is one of my favourite tournaments. I refereed it once, and I was supposed to referee it last year, but COVID sort of got to me, and or not to me, but to the rest of the world. And sitting back there watching, I just love match play. I just think it's the better format of the two, but possibly that's because we don't get to see it as much. But for me, it certainly is the better standard, a better form of golf.
It would be interesting to hear from listeners of GolfRules Questions podcast what they think about match play and where it sits in the competitive landscape of the PGA Tour and European Tour of global golf, professional global golf, that is, because there has been, and as you'd expect, a lot of Twitterati byplay going on around this, and a lot of commentary that maybe a match play should be more. There should be a match play major or something like that, or there should be more match play in the world of professional golf, that because it is so enjoyable to watch, and you get a different style of golf being played by some of the world's best players. So, it'd be interesting to see what you think. So let us know, drop us a line, email, comment on the video, send us a tweet, send us a Instagram post, whatever. Now, let's get into it. This was an interesting one for me. I wasn't quite sure what I thought when I saw this happen, but let's play the video.
Right here. Well, Ian Fitness is a big, strong guy. He was trying to move the sign. Well, if you can't move it, just break it.
Jimbo's not the only powerful guy in this group.
Ian Fitness is old. He's a grown man, as they say.
Indeed he is. And guys, keep an eye on this. Tommy's opting to go off the cart path. If he drops up the hill, he would have no shot at a green.
Yeah. Okay.
You're glad you don't pay for your own clubs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'll set that up. So definitely Tommy Fleetwood does not pay for his own clubs. And what was going on there was he was playing off the cart path at the WGC. Took the option to play off I'm not sure if he had an option, but he was playing off the cart path. So they were joking about him scuffing the bottom of his new TaylorMades. But his real scenario was his caddy, and what his caddy did. I can't remember for the life of me his first name, but Finnis, Michael Finnis, I'm not sure. But anyway, Blakey, explain what happened there and what the situation was with that.
Yeah, well, it was quite an interesting one. It didn't really seem interesting, but then once the caddy broke the obstruction, it really turned interesting. Everyone was laughing about it because here we have the spectator crosswalk sign, which is a movable obstruction. We all know them as movable obstructions, but the thing about a movable obstruction is it has to be reasonable that you can move it without damaging it or damaging the course. Now, it looked like his actions were reasonable, but then the obstruction broke in half. So it's quite interesting. The rules of golf would actually say that, well, that wasn't a movable obstruction because you've damaged it in trying to move it. That means it's actually an immovable obstruction. And because you've damaged it in trying to move it, you've improved Tommy's line of play. And that's the conditions affecting the stroke, i.e. you get the general penalty. Now, stroke play, that would be 2 strokes. Match play, it's loss of hole. But Bryson has to make a claim for that loss of hole to be upheld. Bryson had no idea this was going on, or didn't care, or didn't know the rules, and so no claim was made. Then the second thing there was his ball was on a path, and yes, he would have got the relief, free relief if he wanted to, but as the announcer commentator said, he would have had to, his relief area would have been up the hill in a sort of worse lie, so he just decided to play off the path. But so there's two little scenarios there. But going back to that, it is, you know, I feel personally that's a little bit harsh of a rule, because the caddy didn't actually do anything that would be considered unreasonable in trying to move this obstruction. It was, to me, a reasonable effort. And then if the rules are going to penalise him for that, I do think that would be a little bit harsh. I mean, it would be different if he actually was running in and trying to break it on purpose. That's a totally different situation. But the guy was just trying to move it. I mean, if they'd called in a referee, because it would have been roving referees, not allocated referees, if they'd called in a referee, the referee would be like, yeah, we just need to move this thing. Like, I'm not going to give you free relief from this thing. It just seems stupid. It's a spectator crosswalk. We need to just try and move it. And, you know, under the auspices of the referee, if it had been broken, I highly doubt that the referee would have, you know, allowed a penalty to be incurred. So, yeah, a little bit of a tricky one there. It by the rules of golf, there was a possible penalty, but they may need, in my mind, they may need to look at rewriting that one.
Well, so the takeaway there for the club golfers is don't go out breaking signs on the golf course because they're in your way, because that isn't permittable. But the clear difference was there that it was something that had been put there for the tournament. It would have been movable. He broke it. It wasn't intentional. It was known that it wasn't intentional. Bryson, whether he knew or didn't know, you know, realised what it was. Didn't realise what it was, didn't know. But, you know, they played on, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, and you're spot on with it was put there for the tournament. So it actually wasn't even an immovable obstruction. It would have been a TIO, a temporary immovable obstruction, which comes with its slightly different rules as well. So, you know, in our mind, it was a movable obstruction. The fact that it got broken in the reasonable effort of trying to move it, it should have still been a movable obstruction, but that's not what the rules say. As soon as it was damaged, then it becomes the TIO. But, you know, no claim was made, so that was good.
So my question is, you know, once it's starting to break and he realises that it's starting to break and then he makes the decision to really break it off, did the scenario change once, you know, he's trying to move it and he's thinking he's doing the right thing and then it starts to break? Should he have then stopped and gone, oh, no, this is breaking. I don't want to be perceived as breaking this intentionally. I better get a referee?
Yeah, possibly. It was probably good that they didn't get a referee in that case. Otherwise, the referee may have had to rule, okay, you've broken this. Bryson, do you want to make a claim type thing? So
is that what would have happened if the referee came? Would he have gone and deferred to Bryson going, do you want to make a claim? Or
I personally, I don't think so. Under the referee's guidance, you know, the referee hopefully would have just said, okay, this is a movable thing. The fact that it's broken was down to the construction of the obstruction.
Yep.
You know, it wasn't through your unreasonable effort that it broke that way. But who knows how they would have had to rule in that way. If you go by the letter of the law, there was definitely a penalty there.
Okay, covered off that one. Now, what's next on the run sheet? I've got another video here, but do we talk about? Well, let's talk about this. You
just play the video and then we'll talk about it, because this is quite cool. It's quite a random. I don't know what's coming next.
Okay, well, I'll just play the videos. As I always say, I just press the buttons here, mate. I'll keep doing what I do best. Here we go.
Something's going on, Nick. I'm not going to... Well, that's like Kevin Na's called Dustin back. Well, because you didn't give him the putt. Uh-oh. So I didn't concede the putt, but...
Because I'm just saying, just wait, right? I know it's this, but you still have to wait until I say something, okay?
What do you think of that, Nick?
Well, what do you think about that, Sir Nick? That was an interesting scenario. So explain, take us through what was happening there. Kevin Na, Dustin Johnson, for those listening to this podcast only. What happened there?
Yeah, so DJ had a 10-foot putt and he hit it and it lipped out, did a, what would that be, a 90-degree lip out, and had about 6 inches left. And we didn't hear anything. DJ just went and picked it up. I mean, Kevin Na had enough time to say that's good. And usually, you know, if it's just lipped out or it's just missed, especially in match play, I'll be like, oh, that's good, as in rubbing salt into the wound. But obviously, you know, someone said, oh, well, Kevin was concentrating on his putt, which I disagree with. I mean, you're playing match play. You concentrate on the shot that's happening, and you need to concentrate on your opponent because that is who you're playing. It doesn't matter what you score, as long as, you know, you're just trying to score better than that other player. So, you know, he should have said that's good straight away. He didn't. DJ went and picked it up, walked off the green. Kevin then set up and took ages and must have had a chat to his caddy or something like this. I think he then made his putt and then got DJ to walk back onto the green, and then they had the discussion. And he basically retrospectively gave DJ the putt after Kevin had putted in. So he conceded the putt after it had already been picked up. I mean, DJ should have incurred a penalty of one shot, put the ball back, and either it had been conceded or he holds the putt then. He didn't. Kevin was a nice guy about it, but then Kevin knew the rule of the concession rule, the 3.2 B, but then they've actually agreed to a half, which they're not actually allowed to do. But this goes back to what we talked about with the Golf Rules question of the week, which is quite funny that I put that as a Golf Rules question of the week a week before it actually happened. Although it did come out on Saturday. Maybe I already, oh no, anyway,
Look, I'm going to clarify. You wrote that question before that happened. All right.
Thanks. You always pump up my tires.
If anyone's going to doubt you, I saw the Google document that had that question on there. It happened before.
Well, it actually did happen to Charlotte. Anyway, going back to the DJ Kevin, they deliberately agreed they agreed to waive a rule, as in Kevin should have won that hole. But did they deliberately know that they were waiving a rule of golf? I wouldn't think so. Later on, the story came out from the PGA that they asked Dustin, and Dustin thought that Kevin had said it was good. Fine, that's that finishes. You know, there's a ruling in the book about if you think that someone had said that through an action or communication, and there was a bit of a mix-up, then you can just place the ball back and not get penalised. That's how they went through that situation and said, yeah, there wouldn't have been any penalty anyway. Dustin just would have put it back, and Kevin had then conceded it, so it doesn't matter. It didn't look like that in the vision, and you can go and watch that on my YouTube. It certainly didn't look like Dustin thought that he'd already been given the putt, but the story has come out that the PGA believe that Dustin had, and you know that's what the end of the story is.
Well, my position on that is, of course, the PGA Tour are going to come out and support the world number one, their poster boy and pin-up boy, and say that he was okay and in the right. But if you watch the video, or when you watch the video, it's interesting to see Kevin just go through his putt and then march the world number one back onto the green and give him a bit of a lesson. You know, he's Kevin's senior to Dustin in years and I guess maturity, experience. I don't know what you say. Give him a bit of a dressing down. Yeah, put his arm around him, and I don't think Dustin was too happy.
No, I don't think he was either. But you know, there may have been a case of one player not really showing respect for the other player in the first place, and that's why that other player went down the track that he did. So who knows?
That is the beauty of the nuance of match play, that you can create all these little situations and games and gamesmanships, and essentially, I'm sure Kevin, that's all he was trying to do, and giving him a dressing down. And there's no better situation in match play is to have someone, you know, miss a putt like that, you know, whether it's a half lip out or whatever, but have that sort of 6-8 incher, and they go to motion to pick the ball up, and you just let them hang. There's nothing better than that.
Love it. Yeah,
it's great. And sometimes you just don't even say anything. You just they hang and hang and hang, and then they begrudgingly put a mark on their ball, and then you put yours in, and then you can give it to them.
I had
it's good, mate. Just pick it up.
I did that to a friend, and he beat me 6-5.
Well, it doesn't always go your way, does it?
I had another friend who did that in our pennant. He was in our pen team, and he actually, on the first hole, you know, his opponent's putted to 6 inches or whatever. He's picked up his ball and thrown it to the opponent, and the opponent said, "Oh, it's all right, mate. I'll grab my own ball next time." You know, this wasn't during COVID, and you know, this player, my teammate, did it again on the next hole. Did it again a few holes later. You know, he was like, as soon as I knew this guy was going to get riled up just because I picked up his ball, I knew that I could get under his skin just like that.
So you were picking up the ball to give it to him, to throw it back to him. So, mate, that's good.
It was just a concession, but he just didn't. The opponent just didn't even want it. The player to pick the ball up. He just wanted to pick up his own ball.
Weird. Anyway,
next one.
Let's keep going on. Okay, let's. Who have we got here? Let's press the button on this one.
Jordan Spieth in control in his match against Matthew Fitzpatrick, 3-up, playing the short par 4 13th. Drivable hole, and that looks like what Spieth has in mind, but that's not a good sound.
Whoa! Oh, that's not a good sound.
Now, wait, hold on.
Oh,
That's the 15th green.
It's coming through.
Cantlay's putting for birdie. He didn't even look up.
He thinks, where on earth did that come from?
Okay. He's got to be confused. Let's take another look at this. Look at this concentration.
Like the train went by. What train?
When does he notice?
Huh? Is that what?
Huh?
He's got a caddy threw one out of his pocket.
Okay, that was an interesting scenario indeed. That one.
Yeah. So the main thing I love about this situation, which was, you know, you've seen that happen. It's happened before. Was just that the commentators really got excited about it. Like, they were really over the top excited about that one. But, you know, it brought some energy to golf and golf commentating, so I didn't mind it too much. But wow, you know, talk about dramatizing something that was so simple.
So just to go on with that is what was happening there is Jordan Spieth just tugged one way left. It's gone up into the right, was it? Yeah. Okay. Whatever way he mishit it. It went into the sponsors' pavilions, looked like it hit the steps or something, and then bounced onto the green on the 5th green, as they said, and rolled past Patrick Cantlay as he was putting. It was great.
Yeah, that was close. So he's blocked it on that drive ball for 13th, hit the cart path, went over the grandstand off the cart path, and rolled it on the 15th green. Well, as you said, Cantlay's putting. So just a couple of things that I got asked on social media. What had happened if it had hit Cantlay? Players at lies. What had happened if it hit Cantlay's ball at rest? Cantlay would have to replace his ball, and Jordan would just play his as it lies. What would happen if it hit Cantlay's ball in motion? Patrick's putt would be cancelled, and he'd need to replace and replay the stroke. Jordan again play as it lies. What happened if Jordan's ball ended up on the putting green or even went in the hole of the 15th? Well, his ball was on a wrong putting green, so he must take free relief, or must take relief. He gets to take free relief, or he can take penalty relief off the green. And what actually ended up happening in that one, his ball came to rest off the green. He actually ended up taking free relief from the grandstand, the TIO. But it was quite funny because he was about, I think someone said they took an incorrect drop, which I'd almost agree with, because I think he was 84 yards on shot link, and then when he took his drop, he was 67 yards. So it wasn't quite the correct drop, but it was under the auspices of a referee. So, it might have been a little bit out with yardage, but when you can't see the flag and you've got to try and work out the distance, you do the best you can, basically.
So he cribbed 20 yards. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, we've got a couple of others that we don't have videos for. Is that correct?
We should have a video for Rory hitting it in the pool and Finau.
Okay, here we go. Yeah.
They might have been a little bit. Yeah, that's right. I sent them to you earlier.
Finau, a chance to go one up.
Finau switching his putting style a little bit as well. Kind of left forearm locked.
Oh, that ball might fall in. It has to fall in. Put your shadow on it.
Take your time. Nah, that never worked.
I've never seen it work either, but people say that.
But you don't want to get up close enough. See, now he's close enough to have it in there.
Mark it down! It's the first time that has ever
in
worked.
history. I've never seen that in my life until right now. I've heard that since I was a little boy. Put your shadow on it. It'll fall in. Never seen it work till right there.
And it's official now. It is mark it down exactly. Put it on social media. Put it everywhere. Officially done by Tony Finau.
It's been a wonderful 20 years doing this. That's it. I apologize. I'm leaving now. I've seen it all. The shadow thing worked. And he got a good chuckle out of it.
Well,
always says it too. Put your shadow on it.
Caused you some consternation, that scenario, Blakey?
Yes. So I posted that Tony would get a penalty under 11.3 if he intentionally put his shadow on it and it caused the grass to move. I've been since told that it used to be a decision in the decisions book and it came out in 2012. I'm a little bit annoyed that it came out in 2012 and they haven't left it in there, but it said basically no one from the R&A or the USGA believes that if you put your shadow over the ball, that the grass will move in that small amount of time, effectively making the ball drop. So yeah, you can basically do that with the intention of putting a shadow over it and it's not going to work or not going to be a breach. That's the most important thing. It's not going to be a breach from the point of view of the rules. So had to apologise to everyone who I'd given incorrect information to about, but it really surprised me. Probably a good thing. You look at it now, you think about it, it seems quite ridiculous, but yeah, I probably loved beating up the drama on that one a little bit too much.
So really, it's just an old tale, mate. That the R&A made a decision that we're not going to penalise you for if your ball falls in because it's just a tail anyway. It can't be. We've not proven that the grass actually falls. I think if the shadow was there for maybe 5 or 6 hours, I'm not a greenkeeper, I don't know, but it's certainly, as the commentator said, something that I grew up playing and never happened to me. How many years have you been playing? It's probably never happened to you. It's if the ball's going in, it's going in. And if it's within its 10 seconds that you've been there at the ball, then it's in, correct?
Yes, you're absolutely spot on. Yeah, I had someone ask me, and they actually asked me, did Tony cause his ball to go in? I don't know. I really don't know if putting your shadow over it actually works, but if the intention was there and Tony thought that's what his intention was, then I believe that there was a breach, but yeah, since been told that that's not correct. So go ahead, put your shadow over your ball and see how you go. Let us know if it actually works for you.
Are you a shadow speculator? Let us know if you have had examples of putting your shadow over the ball and the ball dropping into the hole. That'd be great.
It might be different grass. I mean, someone did ask me the question, and I said, look, just like you, I'm not a greenkeeper. I actually said you'd have to ask a horticulturalist, because that's something that's way out of my understanding.
Well, much like they're called irrigators in the farming sense, I think in the greenkeeping sense, they're not called horticulturalists. They're called agronomists, Blakey. And if you do want to hear from one of Australia's great agronomists, you can tune into the My Love of Golf podcast. This week's episode just out with Stephen Britton. Stephen Britton is a young man from Frankston who now plies his trade as head of agronomy at the Chevy Chase Club in the States. No small club, let me tell you. It's one of the big ones, but he's worked at TPC, so he's worked for the PGA Tour. He's worked at Royal Melbourne and a number of places. So if you do want to hear from one of Australia's leading agronomists, not horticulturists, agronomists, tune into the My Love of Golf podcast. This week's episode out now.
Did you ask him the question? You should have asked him the question.
No, I didn't. We recorded a couple of weeks ago. And it was a fairly general chat about, and it's a really interesting chat of a young man's story. But no, I didn't ask him the question, but I can go back to him.
Part two. Does shadows move golf balls?
All right, let's
move grass. Sorry, move grass.
Let's not let's not jump at shadows anymore. Let's dive straight into this one.
Oh, good one. Love that pun.
Back up to 5. Rory looking to just shake off what happened back and forth, put it in the rearview mirror and re-engage here.
Yeah, take a little frustration out and just got to carry it at least about 305 to get past the putt bunkers. Oh, hates it left. That's bad for a front left pin too.
And that looked like it took a huge bounce off the cart path over there, just waiting for a signal. And that's going to have to get real lucky. Not in a happy spot down there, nor is McIlroy between the ears right now, it appears. Well, he's trying to time his golf swing up. We talked a lot about him trying to chase distance with Bryson. Now, I mean, it's all a matter of trying to time up the hips and the shoulders, the upper body and the lower body at the point of impact. And when you're trying to hit the ball really hard, your hips fire faster. And so he's just trying to recalibrate that right now, it appears. And if he's not gonna beat Poulter with this weapon, just like Robert said before, he's not gonna beat him. I mean, it's not gonna be one on the greens by.
Ian's ball is in one of the pools and in someone's house, definitely out of bounds. Rory's ball, excuse me. So Ian didn't hit the best drive, but it looks for sure he's about to go 3 up.
Well, there you go. Yes, Rory McIlroy, one of my favourite golfers in the current times, is in a little bit of a world of pain in a few parts of his game. Probably I would have said driver's not the part there, but the short game and the inside 100 is where he needs to do his work. But there, you listen into that, you get a free golf lessons from the commentators. Then thanks for the golf lesson there to the commentary team on the PGA Tour there. But as you can see, we dove right in, and his ball ended up in a pool.
Yeah, out of bounds, someone's backyard pool, so not a penalty area. So it was a quick one, easy video there where Roy's hit it left and it's hit, ended up in this pool. Luckily, no one was swimming at 7:30 in the morning and out of bounds, and he didn't quite know that it was out of bounds. There were people pointing that it was out of bounds. So he said he's going to hit a provisional, which we heard, which was great. If he'd known it was out of bounds and he said he was going to play a provisional, well, it wouldn't have been a provisional anyway, because you can't hit a ball. You can't hit a provisional ball when when you know your ball's out of bounds, regardless. Second ball off the tee. So his second ball was in play, and then he's playing his fourth shot into the green. So Ian had an easy win there and was 3 up after 5 and ended up beating Rory pretty comfortably.
Yep. Rory, maybe he might want to tune into the Mental Mastery Golf podcast and get some of that mental mastery happening there to get his game back on track, because I'm sure if you listened to Jamie Glazer and myself, he would get one step further ahead than where he is at the moment. But anyway, Mental Mastery Golf podcast, you can tune into that too. Is that us wrapped up for the videos of the rule scenarios from the last week's?
Yeah, pretty much. There was a fair bit going on at the match play, and I absolutely loved it. I mean, there was 3 there that really got me unstuck. I mean, the DJ, Kevin Na, the Tommy, and then the Finau as well. So it was a great weekend of learning the rules of golf for me.
If you ever want to get a sense of David's excitement about the rules of golf, you just have to, be on the end of some of his messages that come through at those times, and you really do get an insight into the level of stimulation that the content and the rules scenarios provide him, and it's great to see. It's great to see a young man with passion about a very important part of the game, because without rules, David, there is
chaos.
There you go. Now, you've got a bit of a shout out to some of your colleagues in the rules space and some of our listeners from the podcast, I believe.
Yeah, we've had some great success by Steve Whiting, Webbo, Andrew Webster, Sam Barker, Sabito. Sorry, Sam, I was going to stuff your name up. And really good effort by Fraser Nickel as well. They all passed their R&A Level 2 rules exam that they sat in the last week or so. So well done to them. We encourage everyone to update or try and increase your rules of golf knowledge, and certainly R&A and USGA quizzes and questions and exams are the best way to do that. So, send us an email, let us know how you've gone on your recent exam or test or quiz or whatever. And if you need some help in studying for that stuff, let me know.
I was just going to ask you that. Are you open for tutoring opportunities there for people studying for their levels in the R&A exams?
Yeah, always up for helping out with some tutoring. Reasonable consulting rates provided? Yeah, absolutely. And I'll throw in a free t-shirt as well. There you go. Beautiful. Now, we've got some housekeeping. We've got last week's background bingo. Let's roll with that. So who won? Who was the background bingoist? So Andrew Miller got Tara Edie. Surprise, surprise. But he didn't get my one, which was Kings Barnes, the 15th hole, the par 3. 15th hole. Yeah, the 15th hole. It was a little obscure, that one, but Tara Edie was a dead set Monty. And there you go, Kings Barnes. Okay. Yeah, that Tara Edie, that is absolutely, like, I haven't been there, but just seeing it, I've got a few friends that are caddies there. It looks absolutely mint. And I think they're building 2 courses right beside it. So that's going to be just as good. So a real mecca of golf. It's around the Auckland region of the North Island of New Zealand. So it's pretty exclusive. So you got to stump up the cash. Yeah, just walk on for $39.95 for the all-day rate, and just away you go. You get a free buggy with that and a snag on a roll at the end of the day. Add a 0 to that, and I think you're about right. Pretty much. Now, this week's background bingo, 2 wonderful pictures sitting behind us. So if you want to look at that, you've got to tune into the video on YouTube, and if you want to play this game. There is actually a little bit of a connection between these 2 courses. We're not going to give too many hints away. I think they're both fairly easy for the golf architecture astute, but there's a connection. So we want to know what hole mine is, what course Blakey's is, and what's the connection. So I need to do some talking so everyone can see. This one's surrounded by a little township, and as you can see, there's a little airport just in the background there. I haven't played this one, but I've been there to watch some golf, so that might give a bit of a hint. Is yours? Can I maybe give a hint for yours? Is yours a blind par 3? No hints, David. Too easy. No hints. The guys and girls have to do some work.
We want to know the connection between the two courses and what the hole is on mine and where is it. Okay, there you go.
Okay.
It's pretty easy. It's pretty easy, really. Okay, this week's golf rules question of the week.
Well, actually, I did want to chuck in an either. Did you?
Oh, an either, yeah.
Did you? Were you happy with that message I sent you?
Well, just call it. Yeah, just you're gonna blow up Rocket, my man.
Yeah, well,
Rocket.
that was pretty horrible. How he butchered that name.
Rocket, if you're listening, you're called for this week's Ivor. So Rocket is sometimes co-host on the Mile of Golf podcast for the mispronunciation of one of Europe's, well, he's actually South African, but playing on the European tour, Christian Bezuidenhout, just butchering the pronunciation of his name, which I did call you on at the time. You've got to pay respect to these guys. You know, they're helping,
Right.
they're providing stuff that they're paying our way here in these unpaid podcasts, Rocket. So
Right.
Christian Bezuidenhout, good luck to you.
Yeah.
This week's GolfRules question of the week, and then we'll wrap it up.
We haven't quite got to 20 thumbs up yet, so you're still reading it in whatever accent you want to read it.
Yeah. Well, shout out to Florian Pilcher over there in Austria too, who's going to come on one day and do any German language voiceovers. Okay, this week's golf rules question. I'll read it if that's okay with you.
Yep,
Blake.
number 35. Go for it, Roscoe.
Steve and Mary are partners in a foursome. Steve tees his ball up within the red teeing area and hits his ball towards the boundary fence, where it may have come to rest inside or outside the fence. Mary, who has been playing from the white tees all day, thinks they should play a provisional. Who must now hit the provisional ball, and where must it be hit from? Great question. Great question.
That's a good wrap on episode 35. There's lots in there, so hope everyone enjoyed it.
Okay, well, I certainly did, pressing the buttons, as I say I always do. Blakey, thanks to you. Your turn to say goodbye.
See you guys. Thank you.
And thanks for listening. Like, subscribe, share, tell a friend, just be part of the growing Golf Rules Questions community. And please, we've asked you a few questions. If you want some stickers, email, let us know about the t-shirts. If you want that sort of stuff, we can make that happen fairly quickly. There's the image of it.
Over here.
Who wouldn't want to represent and look as good as you
Absolutely.
do at the moment wearing that t-shirt? Well, you can too. Just let Blakey know and we can make that happen. Let him know your size. We'll let you know a price depending on, it's all volume dependent, this sort of game. But anyway, we'll crack on. Okay, until next time on the Golf Rules Questions, the podcast. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you then.